guys, welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. And for this week's events, we have the PvP Brawl Classic Asheron, my favorite event of them all. And that will be this week. You're going to see me doing a bunch of streams on this probably because it's the last one. Well, not only is it the last one for a while because they seem to only really roll around twice a year, but Dragonflight's around the corner. Even if there was gonna be another one, high chance I'll be deep into Dragonflight, and yeah, this is just a great way to roll in the new expansion. So that is going on this week. We also have Pilgrims Bounty, which is till November 27th, notably known for some nice leveling, and of course there's events and stuff. And the 18th anniversary is still going on, and that is also till November 27th. So those are the events for this week. Pretty mellow. I guess also we still have, the pre-patch phase 2 as well. So you have that until November 27th as well. And yeah, pretty mellow week. As far as the pre-patch goes, I thought it was pretty simple. I got it done in 2 days, and that, only reason it even took me 2 days is because I collect everything. So I went on my clothy, my leather character, my mail character, and my plate character, got all the transmogs. I have all of the pets. Well, there's only one pet, but you can keep collecting, right? So yeah, and that pet is the Primal Stormling. It's easy to get. I found it quite interesting that on the second day of the pre-patch phase 2, and this is something that wasn't there on day 1, but on the second day, all of a sudden the pet was on the vendor. Originally, the pet was only through the quest, and there's no reason to ever buy it on the vendor. It costs $250, which is a big amount, and you can have all your characters get it, right? It's the first quest, and then after that, the quest becomes like dailies for you, and yeah, so yeah, there's never a reason to spend $250 on that pet. Also, on the vendor, there is a reagent bag, and I bought them on all my characters because it only costs 5 currency, so it's pretty cheap. As someone who played the beta, I will tell you, you get a reagent bag fairly early into Dragonflight. Within an hour, I would say, the first hour you're playing. And so I was pretty surprised to see the reagent bag on the vendor to begin with, just because of how fast you get it in the expansion. But you do get it, and because it'll be your first one, it auto-equips. Here's me on my hunter buying it, and you can see that it's auto-equipping, and yeah. So you have your reagent bag going into the new expansion, which, to me, I could care less, like I drop my reagents off very frequently to the bank, so reagents was never an issue to me. It was actual bag space, so I would have preferred a bag, or at least a choice where you can choose to put the reagent bag there or a regular bag. Because if I had my choice, I'd be choosing a regular bag. Yeah, because a lot of the time, it's gear that's my issue. I do a lot of transmog farming. And yeah, and that shit can't go in reagent bags. So yeah, I'm a little upset that they're not really given a choice there. But whatever. That is a freebie one you can go into. Also this week, you may have seen a couple of videos of mine going over the world bosses. One was to tell you that the world bosses got an increase, which they did. And then the second video was footage of me getting Undasta's mount. And I was really surprised. We don't know what the percentage has been up to. Blizzard never gives us these details. For those that are maybe new to how WoW works, all drop rates are like guesstimates. Nothing is solid concrete. It is all through data and people sharing their drop rates, and not everyone shares them. So it's not an accurate number, but it's the closest you get, right? So we're probably going to need a little bit of time to have all the reports kind of go in, and people kind of do their data and figure out an average drop rate. I don't think it's 5%. There's been people that have said 5%. I think that's crazy. I would have had more than one mount this week, considering all the characters that I have that farm that shit. Yeah, if it was 5%, I would have easily gotten more than one. But I do think that it's one. Yeah, 1% just based off my farming and how everything went. It does look like it's a 1% mount. So that's really nice. Ruckmar was always a better chance, so he was always like a 1 in 500. But Shaw's mount and Galleon and all that was like more like 1 in 3,000 if I remember right. Yeah. And so just to clarify, the mounts that have the increased drop rate is Undasta, Galleon, Shaw, Nalik. They are in Myst expansion. And then you have Ruckmar that is over on WoD. All can be bonus rolled except for Ruckmar. They only did bonus roll mounts in Panda, so that's why. Like they did it for one expansion and decided not to do it for the rest. Also, this week we discovered a new statue on the store. This is the Alexstrasza Statue. Has a hefty price on it. It will cost you a whopping $1,227. That's a lot of money. I'm Canadian, so that is going to equal way closer to 1,500. But it does look good. Yeah, it's these really pricey ones lately, as those that hang out with me in streams and stuff. I love the statues. I have 3 of them that are behind me in stream. One is Thrall, one is Illidan, and then I have like a little mini statue that is Rag. And yeah, I love them. I've been wanting to get my hands on more statues. They've gone up since the last one I got. Well, Thrall was pricey anyway, but when I got Illidan, statues cost $350. So they have definitely, and that's US prices. So they have definitely gone up. It was, I think, a couple of years ago where they bumped up all those 350 statues to 500. And yeah, so it's become a little more unaffordable to get these statues, especially the 1,000. Like, yeah, that is rough. But I do like them. I always figured the next one I would get would be Jaina. I've really had my eye on that statue for a long time now. And yeah, she's kind of the next one that I want. But Alexstrasza's, statue is good. It's 20 inches in size. And yeah, it looks really well designed. So next up is the Chinese announcement. So this has to do with the player base in China. So basically what's happened is NetEase and Blizzard Entertainment suspended services in China. It was due to their current licensing agreement expiring. And because of this, basically, they will not be able to play any Blizzard game except for Diablo Immortal. They will lose all access to WoW, Hearthstone, Overwatch, yeah, pretty much everything. I think this is unfortunate. Like, I would be devastated to get this news right before an expansion. And I guess the first thought that crossed my mind is, well, I hope they're all getting refunded because a lot of us do pre-purchase expansions. Yes, there's people out there that'll say never pre-purchase an expansion, but I'm sorry guys, if you're a WoW fan, those people don't matter to you. Those ones saying don't do it, you're gonna pre-purchase it anyway. Like, you're a WoW fan, you know you're gonna play it, right? So I would hope that that is gonna get, refunded. I imagine it would. Why wouldn't it? So here's a little blue post going over it if you want a little more detail, but there's not much to say. Like, basically, they didn't renew their licensing agreement. As for Diablo Immortal, the reason that one is still able to be played is because it was covered under a separate agreement. And yeah, so it wouldn't be shut down with the other games. And I guess according to some Bloomberg reports, NetEase is seeing the downfall of this. It's fallen 14% in Hong Kong since the announcement. So yeah, I guess we will just see what happens next. I gotta imagine that this wouldn't last long. I feel like this is very temporary. It does suck for the moment. I guess the worst part of this is I try to think of it as if it happened to me. Like, say it was, NA servers that were going down and stuff. NA region. Um, I've put a lot of time in this game. I've been playing since 2004, and I'm not ashamed to say that it's been daily. Like, I have not taken breaks at all. And because of that, I have a lot of stuff, a lot of unobtainables, a lot of stuff that, some people don't realize ever existed in the game. There's been stuff that has been altered that I've kept, and, lots of achievements, feat of strength, all that shit. And it would honestly suck for the game to just go down. I know that that's a possibility down the road anyway. It's an 18-year-old MMO. It's pretty much funded by people like myself, collectors, hardgoers. Like, we pretty much are the reason it keeps going. Because the reality is, when people do start hating on the game and they find content droughts and they're bored and just decide to swap or whatever, the ones left standing are the ones mount farming and toy farming and achievement farming. And yeah, so we definitely keep the game rolling. But it would still suck to lose all that. And the reality is, it could happen. It just would be for different reasons. I don't think it would ever be for a licensing agreement. It would be because the game actually died. I do worry about, I think, losing the Chinese market could really impact Blizzard. I know people have their things they say about it, about Blizzard catering, well, not really catering, but, doing so much for the Chinese, but there's a reason for that. The Chinese market really drives traffic, and I'd be curious to see, I feel like WoW will never die, but I think it could really put a fucking dent into the numbers for sure. Because one thing to remember is, like, since the Chinese market was so big, that drove the funding for content. So without that, we could have a lot of really content drought expansions. Yeah. And the amount of expansions going forward could be up in the air. Yeah. I'm not going to say this would kill Blizzard, but I will say this will impact the game. Yeah. Because in the end, it will mean, you know, less budget, less content. And one last thing I just thought I'd add, it doesn't directly involve the Chinese, but just like a little interesting factor. But those that watch my streams, you might remember I was redoing my Paladin. And I told you the reason I was doing the Paladin. It was because it was replacing a Paladin I had on the Illidan server. And I was getting tired of having to run my add-on to combat the Chinese chat in chat, right? So for those that have never experienced that, there's an add-on that blocks Chinese chat, and you absolutely need it on Illidan because the entire, like, if you just go over there, you'll see a whole different thing. The chat is pretty much not English, and you know, when it is, it's a very infrequent. Like, yeah, you need the add-on to even, like, keep your sanity over there. Yeah, so I guess while this is a bad situation, I guess I no longer have to delete that character because realistically there shouldn't be any Chinese players. Just to conclude, this is going to go into effect on January 23rd. You'll still see them for a couple of months. But another thing is, a lot of the time with situations like this, shit happens right down to the last, you know, second, more or less. So this is the news right now, but some miracle could happen in January and, you know, they get saved, you know? So I guess we'll just see. So next up in news, we have an anniversary pack. It is going to last all the way to November 28th. It's basically 50% off. For me, it's $0 because I have everything. But it does include the Imperial Quillen mount, the Lucky Quillen Cub Pet. So those two are from the Myst Pandaria Deluxe Edition. Reigns of Dread Raven mount and the Dread Hatchling Pet, and those are from the WoD Deluxe Edition. Reigns of the Illidari Fellstalker and Nibbles the Pet, that is from the Legion Deluxe Edition. Seabraid Stallion and Gilded Ravissor are from the Battle for Azeroth Deluxe Edition. Both mounts, one's Horde, one's Alliance. Toddle is a pet from that edition as well. And then we have the Alabaster Stormtalon and Thunderwing. That's from the 15th anniversary mount edition. Alliance and Horde. And then there is the Viridian Phase Hunter, which is a BC Classic Deluxe Edition mount. Also, one thing I thought I'd add into today's video is that we found out that you can actually gain experience using the professions in Dragonflight. So basically, it's granted on your first craft of a particular item, so that you can't just level by spam, of course, right? But you will get around 4% and 6% experience for the recipe. Currently on the beta, it's just a little above 5 at level 61. Also, Blizzard made mention that the Super Squirt Day is going to be a more frequent bonus event. I am so surprised that that name didn't get changed when they changed everything else. Yeah, because I feel like out of all the things, and I'm even talking about when what was the love rocket? Big love rocket or something? It had to have been more than love rocket to make it sexual, right? It had to be like big love rocket or something. But I think super squirt is way worse. Like, you know, I'm just gonna say, and I'm not saying go Google it or anything, but I'm just gonna say that this is probably not what comes up when you Google those words together. Just gonna put that out there. Yeah, this, I think if, I'm not saying this should have been changed, but I'm saying that the other stuff wasn't worse, you know? Like, this is the worst one I felt out of the whole game as far as names. But anyway, I've done a video on this. I'll link it at the end of this video. This is a power leveling event in your WoD garrison. You do need a level 3 garrison, but you can also use someone else's if you don't have it. And it's a very good event. I have used it so much in the past years that I no longer have to level 8 pets. You know, there's of course some sitting at level 1, but all the good ones, all the ones that I care to level, they've been leveled for a long time. It's really good. I used it for when I was doing family familiar stuff, and I just build my teams up, and when the event showed up, I did a crap load of leveling. And yeah, so it's a really good event. It's not the best one. I've been told that the Legion one is still better, but it is still good because you can just spam level your characters. And I like that it's in WoD because I like checking on the black market, which I have a view only in WoD, and then I just drop my portables if I'm gonna bid. So I do like that. So this is a pretty old event. It's been around since WoD, but you know, not everyone knows about it. I would think more specifically people who don't care about pet battling, right? And you can get like 0 to 25 in minutes. Well, I guess it starts at 1, but 1 to 25 in minutes. Now, one thing I would like to just say is, you know, whenever I see articles like this, it's always, oh, gotta do it on the Super Squirt days, you know? But I'm just gonna say, this event comes around very frequently. It's the Super Squirt that doesn't, right? So it's really the big powering level event that doesn't. It's maybe a few times a year, if that. But the regular one is still really good, and that's how I leveled most of mine, because I wasn't gonna wait around just for a power level. Like, it's a good enough event that you can do it just as long as they're in your garrison. Just it's a little faster if it's the power leveling. It saves you, like, I don't know, maybe one round of pet battles. Yeah, but I still, if you need pets leveled, I would still just do it, whether it's the regular event or the power leveling event. And it's easy to know when it's up because, well, if you go to your garrison, you just look for them. You know, it'll be Diablo pets that are in there. So, and that concludes this week's WoW Weekly with Myst. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great final week in Shadowlands. And then we will be in Dragonflight. And on the topic of that, I thought we'd end the video with a cinematic to get you a little hyped for next week's release. So have a good one, guys. Enjoy the cinematic, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Something Something has happened, Khadgar. Something terrible.
Who is she? What is she?
She is Razagath, youngest of the primal incarnates.
The release of Razagath heralds great danger for this world.
If we are to be protectors once more, the aspects of our Dragonflights must be made anew.
Then it seems the mortal races too must answer the call and face the storms ahead.
Along the way, you may discover a new destiny of your own.